Hey boo, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about the books that I read in September. First, we have Tempted by Danger. This book is by Endiya Carter. It's the first book in the Danger family series. I did give this book 5 stars. It was a top runner. It was my favorite book from the month of September. I did learn about this book from one of my favorite TikTokers, Talia Cadet, and he is one of my bookish boyfriends that I'm excited to add to the list. So we have Diamond Danger. He is I guess more like a business mogul, but he didn't want to be. He got kind of sucked into it because his dad got into some trouble with some females, and so he had to step down, and Diamond needed to step up. Now Diamond, he has several other brothers and sisters, but his dad chose him because he felt like he could be more biased when it came to business and not thinking more about the family, because Diamond was kind of like on the outside of the family. One of his sisters, she's like, well, you need an assistant. And he's like, I don't need an assistant. And he's like, yeah, we're going to get you an assistant. And their name is Quincy. And they're going to be here tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. So Quincy, she is just like a hometown girl. And she lives in, I think, like the Florida Keys or somewhere in Florida, where her family owns this resort. Diamond, his family, also owns like a suite, or like a fleet of hotel chains. And so his sister was thinking that Quincy, being that her family also is in the hospitality business, that she would make a good assistant for Diamond. First he was like, I don't want no dude up in here. And his sister, she didn't specify that Quincy was actually a girl. Quincy is his assistant, and from then on he is trying to act like he don't like her, but he really likes her, and she's doing the same thing. And it's almost like it starts off as a grumpy sunshine situation. Well, he's not acting like he likes her, and she's trying to keep her feelings away from him. But by the end of it, it all comes together. So that's not a spoiler, that's in the synopsis. But the way that they come together and the things that they go through in order to be together is what's beautiful to me, and the reason why I gave this book 5 stars. This book is 419 pages, and it was published in 2022. I also wanted to get into this book because there are like 2 more books that go along with this series, and so I wanted to start with the first book before we got into the other series, so stay tuned for that. The next book is All In by Zee Renee. This was a book club book for my chapter chicks. Shout out to the chapter chicks. We just had a meetup last weekend, or maybe it was 2 weeks. It was very close. We had a meetup and we talked about this book. All In Zee Renee is 741 pages. 90% of the book club did not finish this book, so that made me sad, because this was the first time that they actually chose a book that I put into the chat. The way that we choose our books for this book club is we just kind of pick a genre, a loose genre, and everybody puts in a recommendation in the chat, and then a poll is created, and then we vote on which book we want to read for that month. So this is my first time that my book was chosen, and they didn't even read it. Well, 90% of the people didn't read it. But it's okay, because it was 5 stars for me. And I think because it was a slow burn and it was a lot of stuff going on. And I'll be honest, I thought that this book was just like a fluffy romance, but when I started reading it, it actually turned out to be an urban romance. And had I known that before I recommended it, I would not have recommended it for the book club, simply because they were just asking for romance recommendations. So we have in this book Kavion and Harley. So Harley, she is a nail tech by trade, and she is just really blowing up on the scene. She's doing nails for the, I don't know if they say, it's a football team in Texas. And so she does the nails for the cheerleaders, and she has these floor, or no, not floor seats, because football is outside. She has these field seats, and so that's how she comes across Kavion, who is a professional football player. Now here's the gag, boys and girls. Kavion, not only is he a football player, but he is a drug dealer. And that part really threw me. Like, how are we going to maneuver through this famous football player? Because not just a football player, he's like a star football player. How are we going to maneuver through this and have him be this big time drug dealer as well? But the author did it. I mean, it's a book. That's why I have to remind myself, this is not real life. This is fiction. Kavion ends up getting with Harley. Just the whole whirlwind of a love story. It was a slow burn. It took some time to get to the stuff. Harley, she was a little too dependent on Kavion in some parts of this book, which did make me uncomfortable, but the author kind of worked through it, and Harley ended up getting the help that she needed to be self-sufficient. And all I want to say is, when you get to chapter 14, make sure you drop me a message when they get to Fiji or Bali. Is it Bali or Fiji? I'll put it right here where you were at. Make sure you drop me a line and let me know how you enjoyed that part of the book. That is Zee Renee, all in. The next book that I read last month is Rhythms Blues by Kimberly Brown. This is the first time I've ever read a book by this author. Again, we have girlfriend Rhythm Baker. She is a occupational therapist. Then we have Shannon Watson. So he is a music producer. So the way that these two meet is Rhythm actually is dating a rapper named by the name of Raheem. So her and Raheem, they are like childhood sweethearts before he blew up. And so then when he blew up, he brings her along, but then as he blows up, he starts to change. Rhythm separates herself from Raheem. At some point, she comes across this other man. They start getting close. Well, come to find out, Shannon Watson, who is said other man, is a music producer for Raheem. All three parties didn't know it at the time, and they developed this friendship, relationship. Then it comes out, and there is our conflict. The triangle, and how Rhythm maneuvers between these two, figures out what she wants to do. With that, Shannon is also dealing with some elder care situations with his grandmother. That's how also Rhythm and Shannon also are connected. So they're connected two different ways. I thought that it was good. I gave it 4 stars, actually. 4 stars, just because the ending was not, I did not enjoy the ending. I thought the ending could have been alternative ending for this book, but a solid read. I think you will enjoy it. And plus, look at this cover. This cover is absolutely beautiful. I mean, side part, what is this, like a quick weave or something? It's very, very, very nice. Missing White Woman by Kelley Garrett. This book was on my anticipated reads for 2024, and it did come out in April. I was super intrigued by this book because we have Brianna, who is swept off her feet in this whole situation. Ty ends up not coming home one night. Brianna realizes, she goes out into the neighborhood and she finds out that there is this missing woman from the neighborhood, and everybody's like in an uproar, like, where's this girl, where's this woman, where's this woman? The woman is white. When you go on TikTok, I think they may mention TikTok by name, but a social media platform, there is a influencer who has taken to trying to find this woman because the woman is one of her followers. Then, this is in the synopsis, Brianna wakes up the next morning and the woman is actually in the townhome that Ty had rented for her. And so she's trying to clear her name. She's trying to figure out what's going on. She's trying to find Ty. She's trying to solve the mystery of this missing woman. And I just think it's a lot. It's a lot. I did give this book 4 stars because it kept me intrigued. This mystery thriller type situation. It was 336 pages, and you guys have to read it, especially for spooky season. I think this will give great mystery, spooky vibes for you guys. Witchful thinking. This book, I did a buddy read with a couple of the girlies over on Bookstagram, and it is book 1 of the Elemental Love series. This is by Celestine Martin, and it is my first time reading a witches novel with paranormal, fantasy, romance, Halloween. When we read through it, it really was giving us, what's the movie with the 3 witches? It's Halloween Town. I can't think of it. I'll put it right here what I'm thinking about once I think of it. But it was giving us that type of vibe. Everything was just kind of just mystery and magical, and you had men that they had mermen, they had mermaid people. That part really intrigued me because I had never read about mermaid people. So we got to a situation where the main character, Lucinda, she is romantically involved with this merman whose name is Alex. They have some pretty racy scenes, and so I'm trying to figure out, how does that work? It seems as though the mer people, they have legs and they're walking around, but once they come in contact with water, like they go swimming, that's when their bottom half turns into a fish, and like their skin and stuff changes to like scales. That's the envision that I had. The girls over on the buddy read, they were not impressed. They did not like it. We wanted more development of this world so we could kind of understand what we were reading. It's almost like the world was developed in the author's head, and the author just kind of threw us in the world and was like, y'all just figure it out. Whatever it is, whatever y'all think it is, that's what it is. And we didn't appreciate that. It was 2 stars for this book, but still check it out. There's some other books in this series for spooky season that may be something that may catch your attention. Go ahead and check that out. The last book that I read for September is Smoke Signals by Danielle Brooks. I wanted to check this book out just because it just had a very cute cover, and the occupation was firefighter. And then we have this lady that the lady's name is, the main character, Nina. She is trying to learn how to cook. She's just getting over a breakup. She can't cook, and the fire department keeps coming to her house because she keeps having these small fires. That's when the main character, Nina, Denzel, they come together. I don't know. I gave this book 4 stars. I don't know if I would recommend it. It's not something that I want you to rush to read. If you come across it, it was 168 pages, so it's a short read for you, but it's nothing that I would be like, yo, you have to read this book. I hope that you have made it to the end of this video. If you have, drop me some books that you read last month and let me know what you think about the books that I have mentioned in this video. Also, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to comment to this video, and don't forget to share this content with another fellow baby reader. And until next time, bye.
Okay, your issue is...
I didn't ask you what my issue was. I didn't ask you what my issue was.